Out and spending your Saturday afternoon with us. It's been a beautiful day despite the weather. How it started has turned out amazing, and I want to thank you all, everybody who came out to help. Give yourselves a round of applause. My name is Jesse Riggs. Again, Jesse Riggs. I'm with Monroe and the Michigan Medical Marijuana Association, and today it's been my honor to work with a couple of really good friends in trying to move forward the progress of the recreational legalization movement. On Prop 1, we have an opportunity to really free from bondage a lot of Michigan citizens who use marijuana recreationally with no adverse effects other than the laws. In November, we have the chance to elect some politicians, some wonderful candidates who are very pro-cannabis and some who are just pro-cannabis. And on any side of that fence, I'm happily right there beside them as we move this movement forward. Again, I want to thank you all for coming out. It's been a great day. We've had food, we've had fun, we've had conversations. And today I think I want to start off with our first guest speaker, one of the guys who's really been instrumental in putting this event together, one of the guys who I really hope helps this blue wave and change how politicians speak for themselves and draw lines. And I want to introduce a guy who I know is going to speak for the people and fight for the people in his constituency, Mr. Ernie Whiteside. Come on,
Thank you. So, thank you again very much for coming out here. My name is Ernie Whiteside. I am a candidate for state representative in District 56. And I'm here today because, well, basically for three reasons. And they're the same three reasons I give every time. So it's really boring to say them, but it's true. If someone can benefit from the medical use of marijuana, I want them to have easy access and affordable access to marijuana. That would be my number one thing. Okay, you can applaud when I do that.
Yeah! That's it.
The second reason I'm into this is because I don't want anyone who uses marijuana for recreational reasons to go to jail.
No. Boo!
I don't see any value associated with putting parents in prison and then having to deal with their children, or someone losing their job or their driver's license who really isn't a danger or a menace to society. And then finally, we never talk about this, but industrial hemp, folks. Here we are.
Yes.
Our farmers need a cash crop that really makes a difference. Industrially, it's good food products. It's great for plastics. Hempcrete is an incredible product. It's incredibly easy on the soil. It reconditions soil. And it would give our farm community an option and our industrial centers another option that they don't currently have.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it will. Those are the three main reasons I'm into this. Now, I don't use marijuana. I don't smoke cigarettes. I hardly drink alcohol. I'm almost an abstainer. I'm a total caffeine junkie, if that counts for anything. I don't know. Do you get points in gangs for being a caffeine junkie? Yeah, probably not. Okay, so I don't have a horse in the race. I'm probably never going to have a farm that grows this stuff. I'm probably never going to have a problem personally because of recreation. Maybe one day I'll have a medicinal need. But I'm a kind of libertarian. I want people to be able to make the maximum amount of choices for themselves that they can. And as long as they don't hurt other people in the process, I don't want to see anyone punished for making personal choices. So I support Proposition 1, and I support far more than Proposition 1 does in reality. Proposition 1 probably doesn't go far enough for me, but I'll take it because it's what's on the table right now. So thank you for showing up, and have a good day.
Very right side, everybody. Fantastic, right? It's great to have candidates that are brave enough to stand in front of you and actually support Prop 1. It has been quite a controversial topic, and it's been ongoing for a number of decades. But here we are where it is literally on the forefront of the political scene. And Ernie brought up some great points of industrial hemp. And I also want to point out and remind everybody that we have this terrible algae bloom off the shores of Lake Erie. And I believe that we could use hemp as a environmental means of mediating a lot of the pollution along the Detroit River and down into the Huron River where it dumps off into Lake Erie, preventing a lot of the algae bloom, as well as lining some of the farm fields that we have in the southern parts of the community, like right here in Temperance. We can protect the Great Lakes, all of the Great Lakes. So we've got a couple of extra special speakers that drove pretty far and one from really near. But I would like at this time to bring up Mr. Nick Zettel. Nick, could you come on up here, buddy? Thank you very much for coming down here. Really a pleasure to see you. Thanks.
Yeah, it's really great to be here. I actually am really happy to be out here in the southeast corner of Michigan in Monroe County. We've been working on this proposal for quite a while now. I've been around since its formation. I've managed to get all the way up to Marquette and Menominee and Iron Mountain, and so I know that this is a statewide effort, and so making sure that this passes at the statewide level is very important, not only for Michigan but for ending the war on marijuana across the board. We're about to be the first state in the Midwest to legalize marijuana. We are the first state with the option to do so on our ballot, and
right.
This is. Ohio almost did it a couple of years ago, but it was a terrible model. It's questionable if you could even call that legalization. It essentially was an oligopolistic model. They only allowed 10 places. They were only going to allow 10 places to grow it. And we've been fighting to make sure that those same efforts aren't recreated here in Michigan, that we have a market that has low barriers of entry so people can get involved. Because as Ernie said, it's important for us to end the arrests and end the absurdity and help move the industry forward, but we also need to make sure that the industry looks good, that it doesn't leave people out. So I was really happy to have some awesome conversations with the people here today. Some of them, people were talking about, not just the money we'll bring in from taxes, but money we're going to save not enforcing these ridiculous laws.
For sure.
I was talking to some people about expungement because that's something that we need to focus on as soon as this passes. It becomes so much easier to expunge and exonerate crimes and help people clear their records for things that are nonviolent and victimless, and that's really important for our organization. So as soon as we can pass this in November, we can start working on making real progress. But this proposal one is going to have some incredible. It's going to have an incredible effect on this state. It's going to elevate us above every other state in the Midwest, and we're going to be really at the forefront of a new global movement to end the war on drugs. So thanks again, Jesse.
He made the trip down here from Washtenaw, and in Washtenaw we've got a lot of friends and a lot of family, and I'm happy to have here from Washtenaw County Normal, my buddy Eric. Eric, come on down here, would you? All right. Eric's a local guy too, right? So I'm gonna let him tell his story. Thanks for coming, brother. Really appreciate all the help.
Thank you, man. My name is Eric Battles. I'm the director of Washtenaw County Normal. I'm also a local here in Temperance. My message here locally is that I believe that the marijuana industry is going to be a huge boon to our community. And it's a community that needs more economic development, and that's something that we can absolutely embrace. Whether it's medical marijuana or the upcoming legalization, which we hope to pass, and taking it to the full-scale market, or hemp. Some of our colleagues here have mentioned things like hempcrete and other products that are processed from hemp. I also agree with Jesse. That's one of the more underserved components of hemp is what it can do for our environment, especially here in Lake Erie, where we're watching our waterways just deteriorate and our drinking supply become more and more contaminated. So overall, I think it's something that communities, not just Bedford, but communities like ours across the state should really embrace, and that's one of the things that we are hoping to push further and further. I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
So I kind of want to clear up a few things about Prop 1, and the first and foremost is that I want everybody to understand that it does not interfere or cross lines with the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act. They are their own separate entities, and there will be no crossover. So if you're an existing caregiver, you will not be limited to the recreational language when we pass it. You will still be obliged to conform to the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act as far as being a caregiver. As we mentioned, it brings hemp into the picture, which is a phenomenal plant that has many uses, and I think is going to be a very beneficial crop here in Monroe County. One of the other things it does is legalize the edible market and the concentrates. So we're not having the problems that we've seen with the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act over the last 10 years in regards to the concentrates and the edibles. Some of the other things are that it's going to legalize pipes and bongs. And all of this is going to be for people over 21 years old with identification. So we want to make sure that this passes so that we have a regulated market, a safe and secure and affordable market for the customers here in Michigan to legally access something that really is benign and victimless, as it's been pointed out. A lot of people I know use marijuana daily with no adverse effects. Generally, the most adverse effects that happen to them are the laws or the rules against marijuana. Holla! Yeah, you want some ice cream? Yes.
That's the downfalls.
That's the dog balls?
Munchies.
So we really want everybody to look into Prop 1. I certainly don't want you to take my word for it or your neighbor's word for it. Look into the language and see how it's going to impact you. See how it's going to benefit the state of Michigan. See how it's going to benefit employees and employers. The economic boom is going to be huge for all parts of Michigan, both urban and rural. And the environmental impact that hemp could bring is very, very beneficial, like I said, to the state, to protect its waterways and to protect our precious water that is really so important. We don't want what happened in Flint to happen here. We don't want this algae bloom to continue. We don't want it to grow. So again, I want to thank everybody for coming out today. It's been a wonderful day. It's starting to heat up. It's getting muggy out here, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, indeed it is. So thank you very much, guys, for coming out.